Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi, my name is Alyssa, and for today's video, I am bringing you what turned out to be a more like technical tutorial on this makeup look that you see right here. It has been quite a while since I've kind of like spoken you through a tutorial in real time and kind of explained what I was doing and why I was doing it. And so it just kind of started happening and I figured, why not? We'll just kind of run with it because I get a lot of questions on like how I blend my makeup and a lot of compliments on how it ends up looking. And you guys know I want to give you all my secrets, all my tips and my tricks. And so I'm hoping this helps one of you guys, or maybe, you know, encourages you to rebrush up on a technique you haven't tried in a while. So yeah, you guys, I was feeling very monochromatic with my new purple top, which by the way, this is from Express. I just got it yesterday along with these earrings, you guys. They're so cute. I will try and link them down below if I can find them for you. But I had done this makeup look quite a while ago and I never did a tutorial on it. I just like threw it on and filmed a video, and I got so many questions and compliments on this look. So I was like, we'll kind of just like roll with this color story today. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the exact same look because I have no idea what I did that day. I just be doing my makeup. So this is pretty close. I really like it. I love purple on me with my like skin and hair color. I mean, I'm just giving, she's giving royalty, monochromatic royalty. I'm loving it. I wish I had something to do today because I went out shopping yesterday and looked like a bum. Okay, it was record store day. I just needed some new shoes and such. Like, I just wandered around really looking busted. Like, and today I'm eating and just not a single place to go serve. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just how it is sometimes. But anyways, you guys, I'm gonna stop rambling on. I really hope that you guys are excited for this tutorial, and without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. Okay guys, we're gonna jump into this. We're gonna be using the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette today. This is still one of my favorite palettes in my collection. It's stunning. Formula is bomb, like so good. And as we've already talked about, as you've already seen, we're doing something pinky purple today. And so we're just gonna kind of roll into it. The first thing I'm gonna do is take the shade Therapy Sesh, which is a slight purple color here. And we're just gonna start kind of doing a light buff. Slightly lower in the crease because I'm gonna pull the pink in at the tippy top. So I'm just taking a Morphe M441, a little bit on there. And we're just gonna kind of pretty much put this almost like directly into the crease. And the reason I love using this shade is because it naturally pulls a little bit pink anyways. And so it helps any pink that I put at the top. It just kind of blends together really seamlessly. So I'm just pretty much gonna do windshield wiper motions, pretty steep actually. Bring it all the way out to this outer corner. And when I get, my apologies, that is probably the quickest my camera has actually ever just been like, yep, I'm clocking out. So again, we're just going big swoopy motions here. Just really light. I'm holding the brush, as you guys can see, literally at the end. This is gonna keep lightest pressure, and that way it doesn't get too overwhelmed. And again, just windshield wiper motions. And I know it feels odd when you hold the brush at the end like this, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it is one of the best things that you can do, especially when you're just trying to lightly buff something out. Because look how seamless that looks right there. And I'm not having to do anything, which I love. So we're just gonna go ahead and repeat that on the other side real quick. You guys gotta let me know. I am someone that literally, I can hardly ever do one eye and like do it to completion and then go do the other eye. There is just something about the fact that I need to be doing it step by step for me to get it together. Let me know how you guys do it. If you have to do each step at the same time per each eye, or if you can just like completely do one eye every time and then just pop over to the next. I have done one eye before at a time, like if I really want to make sure I have something good, especially for some of my Halloween looks. But it is not my favorite technique. I feel like I dirty all my brushes and then I'm not able to use them the same way I want to. So again, windshield wiper motions, keeping this pretty solid just in my crease area, and then big circular motions here on the outside. I'm gonna keep this really well blended. Okay, so now I'm gonna take a Morphe M433, a slightly smaller fluffy brush than the one I just used, and I'm gonna dip into the Mikayla Glamlite, what is this, the Volume 1 palette, this one right here, another really good one, and I'm gonna use the shade Part 2 right here. It's slightly lighter than the next purple in the Jaclyn palette. And I do love to try and just do one palette tutorials for you guys, because I get not everyone's gonna have like everything that I have in my collection, but every now and then, you know, you just gotta have a little bit of fun. I'm just gonna reach into the products that I do have. And so this shade is extremely pigmented. So I'm going to tap a lot of the excess off, and we're just gonna lightly start putting this. I am just gonna go ahead and pull this on this outer portion right here to help alleviate some of the color that I don't maybe want to go too high. So pretty much like getting the majority off of my brush out here, and then starting to bring it in to the crease. Because this is gonna be pretty smoky, you can pull it all the way in if you wish. You can stop about halfway, it's kind of up to you. You can also do this kind of based on your eye shape. But a little goes a long way of this shade, for sure. And so with this, I'm doing less windshield wiper motions and just really small circular motions, but moving in that windshield wiper pattern, if that makes sense. So I'll come to the inner portion, do it, and lightly move to the edge, still doing circular motions, but just not staying in like one space too long, to make sure I'm kind of distributing the color all the way around. Because if you stay in one spot too long, you're really just gonna kind of blend everything out, and then by the time you get ready to move it over, you're not gonna have anything. But you can see that the purple is showing through right here in this inner portion, just not too intense, which is what I want. I didn't want it to be like, I just put purple on my eye and just called it a good one. And so now there's pretty much nothing on this brush. I'm just focusing on blending a little bit, because when I'm doing something like this where I really want there to be layers of color, you're gonna wanna overblend. Like, you're really gonna feel like you're doing way too much for no reason. There's a reason. Just make sure you really focus on blending, because that's gonna make the look so seamless. It's gonna appear that you really were out here like performing artistry, you know, and it's not that deep. So again, I'm gonna focus on packing a lot of this on this outer portion. You can see by doing that, it didn't overdo the outer corner on this side. It just made sure I didn't overdo the inner corner. And so I'm gonna pack this on, and then of course, you guys heard it, we're just gonna do small circular motions in a windshield wiper motion shape, which I know makes no sense, but hopefully the way I broke it down helps make a little bit of sense. Oh, I know that someone somewhere is talking some smack. It's the story of my life. And again, I don't know if you can tell, the way I'm literally like holding the brush is a joke. It's really resting on the palm of my hand just for support, so it's not going willy-nilly, because I don't need it quite as willy-nilly as I did when I was like doing the first shade, when I was just like flapping the brush around like this. So I'm using it for some stability, but like literally barely holding it to literally let the brush do my work. My hand is just guiding the brush around, to be honest. And again, I know it feels weird. The way in which I hold things and do things is sometimes so strange, but it really yields beautiful results. We're just gonna kind of make sure we do this, and then we're gonna pause there real quick. We're gonna take the first brush that we use, and we're just gonna give it a rough blend. Nothing crazy, literally just big circular motions. You can windshield wipe it again, whatever works for you, but we just want to make sure that we keep that nice and blended and keep that purple shade really peeking out the top. We still want to be able to see some of that purpley pink from before. So now I'm going to dip into the shade called Not My Journey in the Jaclyn palette. It is the deeper purple. It looks like it has a little bit of shimmer in it, which is going to be fun. And so I'm actually going to go ahead and take a flat definer brush, and we are going to pop this on my lower lash line as well. And just nice and close as you can to the liner that we just put down. And I'm just really going to lay that there, just kind of stamp it around. All right, so now, still sticking with that lower lash line, I'm gonna take this brush, it's some Morphe E36, lightly, very lightly. I'm gonna tap it into that same Not My Journey shade, and we're gonna slightly buff this out. I don't wanna do too much. Typically when I use my, like a fluffy brush on the lower lash line, I like to use a Morphe M506. As you can see, the M506, which is this one right here, is like fluffier and longer. And this one is like slightly more compact and a little bit dense and shorter. So this one would blow out the shadow more, where this one is going to keep it a little bit closer and more compact like I'm looking for. I will use my M506 at some point during this, but that's kind of the difference in like the way the brushes are going to help you. A more compact brush is going to keep the shadow more where you want it, whereas a more fluffy brush is going to really diffuse that shadow for you. It's going to do a lot of the work for you. This one's going to be more based on me. So very lightly, I'm just going to blend this because we just don't want it to be like a harsh stop. And really mix that well. And already you can just see the difference, how this side looks more diffused, where this looks just like a straight line. And this is what I'm looking for in that shade before I add anything else to it. So now we're gonna move back to the lid, and I'm gonna take another smaller fluffy brush. I'm going to go in with the Not My Journey shade, and we're gonna do pretty much similar to what we did with the part 2 purple shade, but now we're just going to start really deepening this look up. And because I've connected this now to my lid section, we're really going to make sure we add this color down here. That's going to make everything look really seamless. And so again, I'm going to focus on this shade right here in the lowest part of my outer corner, and we're just going to really focusing on just kind of stamping and like wiggling it around is the best way I know how to describe what I'm doing right now. And then feel free to bring this shade in as much as you need to. We don't want to blow this shade out this way per se. We want to take it more inward. So like stamping, wiggling, and pulling it in is going to be your very best bet. We're going to keep this very, very, very low in the crease. I do not want this coming up high in the crease. That's not really going to give us the look we're looking for. And when I tell you I'm talking about barely dipping in. This is the step that's going to take you the longest. You're going to go back in too many times for your liking probably, but that's going to yield the best results here. You don't want to go in with a lot of product because you can always add more. You can never really take it away. So ever so slightly stamping, wiggling, dragging it in. And as you can see, I'm just going to barely bring this into the crease. I don't think I want to pull this color, at least while I'm working on it right now, very far into my inner corner. I would like to leave this a little lighter and brighter because we're gonna do some shimmer work. Because you guys know your girl is in her shimmering era. I'm not gonna put no rhinestones on this look today, but believe me, I am tempted, okay? I'm giving very much Taylor Swift's Bejeweled in my mind at all times, but I'm just gonna refrain. So we are lightly gonna wiggle that in. And it's funny because it's not a lot of product, but it makes a world of difference. Look how it just looks a little more smoky, a little bit more sexy. And this eye, gorgeous, stunning. We could have stopped there, but why did we do that? You know what I'm saying? When we could add another color. I'm always down to add another color. So real quick, I'm gonna pause there. And I am gonna grab a little bit and we're just gonna repeat on this side. Okay, so now we have this sitting like this. I'm gonna go back in with the part 2 shade from the Mikayla palette and a little bit of that purple, and we're just gonna start helping this buff out and kind of adding back some of that middle purple shade, where as I was blending the one, it just kind of fell away a bit, which is a-okay. And that's gonna help that blend this on this outer portion as well. And really, again, focusing on blending this. Typically when I'm doing a rough blend like this, I tend to turn the brush like from like pointing inward to like sideways like this. And then I just kind of drag it when I'm looking for a quicker, kind of rougher blend, which is what I'm going for right now. So now that I have this looking like so, I am going to focus a little bit on my lower lash line. So I'm going to now switch to my M506. That's the fluffier, smaller brush I was talking about. If you do not have this brush in your collection, I'm telling you, you need one. These are some of the best, smallest fluffy brushes that you can get. They're great for detail work on the lid when you're working with something in the inner corner, or you need to do just a small amount of buffing somewhere. These are phenomenal. I don't know how many of these I have because as soon as I found it, I was like, I need multiples. Like I hardly ever do a look where I'm not using this brush. It's just a staple in my collection. And so I'm gonna lightly dip into the part 2 shade from the Mikayla palette, and I'm gonna lightly buff this out, connecting to this outer portion here. This is gonna be where I'm doing most of my focusing right this minute. I don't really want to smoke it down. I just want to focus on connecting it and then bringing that in. And this I'm going to focus on more just like windshield wiper motions. All right, so I'm gonna go in with a true pink shade now to really kind of pull some pink into this look. I'll also tie pink in later with my blush, but I'm gonna use this shade right here called Lolli Mama. This one does lean a slightly more purple shade versus like this super bright pink, which, by the way, if you're looking for a bright pink, this one right here, Tipsy Girl, stunning. But I'm gonna use Lolli Mama for this one. I am going to take this Morphe and Jaclyn Hill brush. This is the JH35. So it's slightly smaller than the original fluffy brush that I used, but it is bigger than the fluffy brushes that I've been using. So it's kind of giving us the perfect little shape for what I want to do, because again, I do need something more fluffy but a little more loose, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna just take a small bit to start. Like, it almost looks like I literally did nothing. Tap off the excess because we're not a fool, and we're just gonna lightly start pulling in this pink. I mean, look at, like, just look at the difference, and we've hardly done anything at all, but that's because it is gorgeously meshing, and like I haven't even put anything down here, but it's already just meshing with that initial therapy sesh shade. That's a tongue twister. And I literally am just going to take this same brush and slightly pull it down at the bottom here. I've added no more product than my initial dip, and we're just lightly buffing. Okay, for right now, what I think I'm gonna do, what's pulling me towards them are these two stunning shimmer shades in the Mikayla palette. This is Simping and this one is Immaculate. And what if we do like pink to purple, and then that way we can really mesh in the purple here on the outer corner. That's what I'm feeling. I do not know. I think I'm gonna take a brush, because I always, girl, my fingers, they are small, but they are chunky. And so if ever I start trying to do something in the inner corner, girl, I put it somewhere I don't want it. And I think I'll just use the same brush and like flip it over. And I'm just gonna kind of stamp this on. I wanna be careful about how much I drag it, because of course glitter is going to kind of like sprinkle down the cheeks. So it's more like a patting motion here. And I can keep this truly on the lid, because I really don't want this to go into the crease per se. Let's see here. And I'll probably go like a third of the way. And I'm going to go in with the shade Immaculate. This is the purple shade. I try and pick up a good bit, and then we're just going to, again, stamp this on. Ooh, very pretty. I'm going to lightly bring it a little bit where the matte shade was happening, but not too much. Okay, before I pop on my lashes, I am going to do my blush with you guys. I think I'm going to pull this blush from the Jaclyn Hill and Becca like face thing. This is expired. There's no way it's not. I'm going to use it. I'm never getting rid of it. I'm not really worried about that. That's my business. You know what I'm saying? So we're just going to take a Lexi 504, a large angled brush. I'm just going to pop it in here. This has like a little bit of gorgeous shimmer to it. And we're just going to pop this on. Now, I like my blush high, okay? So I'm gonna start literally up here, and I'm gonna start popping this bad boy on. Look at that. And we're gonna pull this down. It's almost like I'm putting it underneath my eye, but I'm not. I'm gonna keep this on my temple look. It's like I'm connecting it to my eye look. Oh, it does have a really pretty sheen to it. So I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna stamp it and keep it right up here, as close to my makeup as I've got going on my eye makeup. Just like that. That is stunning. I will like blend it back into my hair. I love a good blush look up on my temples. It is not for everybody. That is completely okay. You put it where you're most comfortable, but it does help my cheeks look very, very lifted. And I just love the look of all of my makeup just kind of like meshing together up here. I do not know why. I just like it. So again, I'm keeping this pretty high. I'm really pushing it to my under eyes. right on my temple. And I'm not really sweeping this around. I'm really just patting it on. I haven't really sweeped my blush anywhere in a long time. I'm gonna lightly pull this in now that I've used most of the product to right here. Look at that. And I'm gonna just touch on my nose. I can't help it. Just like this. Just straight up on the bridge of my nose, like that. Very nice. And while we're in here, because why not, I'm gonna use this highlighter because we're standing here and then I don't have to find another one, and that works out well for me. So I'm just gonna take the big ol' Anastasia A23 and we're just gonna, not a lot, just kind of put that in the very corner like that. Since this blush does have a little bit of shimmer in it, I don't want to look too oily or greasy, so I'm just going to keep this very high here. All right, y'all, so we are back and this is the final look. I decided to go with the lashes in the number 428 out of this set. These are very different for me. These are ones that I would never buy like in a singular pack on their own, because they are like the same size all the way around. Like normally I love a good like cat eye or like winged out type of a lash, but these are the same all the way around. And I'll zoom you in so you can see it a little bit better, but they're not giving a lot of length, they're giving more volume, and like you can really see that when I like turn to the side. Can you see like how curly and thick these things are? I hope you guys can see that. I don't know, but they are like really fun. Look at this. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I didn't think I would like them, but I'm enjoying them much more than I thought they would. And I think they complement the look well because you can still see everything on my eyes since they're not like going all the way up to my eyebrow or anything like that. Anyways, you guys, that is all for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed this kind of more like teaching tutorial today. That's kind of what it felt like to me anyways. Hopefully you maybe learned something new, a new technique to try. And if there are any more like colorways or makeup looks you want me to do in this type of a fashion, let me know down below because I can definitely come up with some looks and kind of teach you how I get to the final result, especially with all the blending and things that I do. So yeah, you guys, as always, thank you so much for being here. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, of course, give it a thumbs up. That really helps me out. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You can also follow me on my other socials linked down below, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.